Helen Brahms here, coming live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling Christmas Eve, which happens to also be a fun Friday. Yay! So it has been a very weird kind of day today. I'm trying to figure out how to put, it was fun. We had the rain started in the middle of the night and a steady downpour all day. Yes, we needed the rain, so it was a little more than a soaking rain. We had a lot of surface flooding ended up with a lot of surface flooding around the resort. People were posting pictures of ducks swimming down the roads in some places. Because in some places the road comes down and it dips for the water to be taken away, and the ducks were like just paddling along in that. And somebody had a little sailboat out in another area, and so there's some great photos that are circulating around the park that were taken today of just how much water we had here. But it has been, and we went and got the mail today, of course, and it's been a very fun Friday, in a nice, quiet, relaxing way, but with a little bit of tension. And you're probably going, what on earth are you talking about? Well, let me tell you. First of all, excuse me, I got a stack of mail. I've already put it away. A stack of mail like this was waiting for me in my box. And I haven't cleared my box for 2 weeks, not since my birthday. So in the 2 weeks, I've had this much mail arrive, which was a mixture of about 53% birthday cards and about 40% Christmas cards. And then the rest of it was like junk mail and other stuff I had to know. But tucked away and all, and then there were some packages as well. So I have, I forgot to bring them over. I have to bring them over tomorrow. But got some caramel popcorn. Yum. Got was it a gluten-free or a blondie? It was one of the two, but it was yum. And there was some other, there were some other pieces in there as well. But the one that was the biggest surprise, and because I was not expecting it, and I love surprises where I don't expect things because then the reactions are more real. But the one that was the biggest surprise and had the biggest impact on me was friends of mine designed this amazing ornament and a matching card to go with it. Now, I've already put my cards away because in the RV, I don't have a lot. And you'll find out in a moment exactly why I put the cards away as well, because there was a very different reason as to why the cards went away. But in there, and I had this hanging, I thought I had to take it off to show, there was this ornament. And I'm going to show you this ornament because it caused a few sparkles of love to flow because it was such a surprise. But this was the ornament that was sent. Can you go get everything right here? Okay, that's my husband in the picture, and it says in memory of Bradley S. Brahms. And see the cardinal there? Cardinals are known that if you find a cardinal, that means that there's a loved one is near. And they've got the saying on the back, which I can't quite read because it's so small. Should have put the magnifying glass over. A hug sent from heaven. Oh, jeepers. Hang on. Where's the flashlight? That usually helps. Flashlight, there it is. A hug sent from heaven, found days to always remind you I am here by your side. I found ways? I don't know. But anyway, it's basically telling you that they found a way by the side. And so I've now trying to figure out where I'm going to put this where I can see it on a daily basis. But Mike and Brenda Sanchez, thank you so much for this. That really means a lot. But like I said, the card is exactly the same, and it has some beautiful words on the inside. And it was just such a beautiful surprise. And this is a great way to remember a loved one. And so thank you for that. So that was besides all the other surprises, this is the one that had the biggest impact because, what did I do with it? Where did I put it? I'll have to show you the other surprise that made me laugh. So this one sent the sparkles of love going and was so heartfelt. Then I got a surprise from my friend in Canada, and it's over there. I'm going to have to show you guys tomorrow morning that one because that was actually a birthday one that she sent to me, and I'll have to show you that in the morning because that was really cool. It made me laugh. just because I thought she knows me so well. So I had a couple of surprises. So those were the couple of surprises. We had a lot of rain. And then when I was clearing up from all my unpacking, because there was a few boxes and packages in there, and up over on the dashboard in front of the steering wheel is a whole bunch of boxes that I have to break down and take over to the recycling bin. So it's kind of looking a little messy over there right now. And thank goodness that my leaks are not there. Yes, I have leaks. So I then, after I had opened everything, I thought, okay, well, I've got to tidy it up. And so I was tidying everything up, and I was over here by the couch, and I could hear this drip, drip, drip. And I thought, where's that coming from? And I looked, and so in the slide here, there's a window like this at the other end, but it has these blinds here on it. And I looked over, and there was this wet patch on the blind. Where the heck's that coming from? And I looked up, and I don't know if I can do it with this. We will try. But I'm not sure if I can tip it up far enough. No, I can't. So around the windows, they have these valances that stick out like this on the side, and then they have a decorative one that goes across the top. Now, these are bits of wood with padding and then the fabric over top. And on the top ones, they have a little more decorative thingy up there. Well, the one that's on, oh no, you wouldn't have seen it anyway because it's all the way up there. Sorry, I just realized, maybe if I do this. Okay, you can see this piece here of the valance. So this piece of the valance, it's all padded. It's a bit of wood, all padding, fabric over top, everything else, make it look pretty. But what happened with the one at the end there is that whole valance, well, not the whole valance, like from about midway to the outside edge. So from, where am I? From about here, across over this way, the top valance piece is soaking wet, and it was dripping because there's in the middle, it comes down to a gentle point, a rounded point, and it was dripping off this rounded point. And I'm like, what the heck? And so there was a little bit of wetness down low on the blinds where the drip was catching it as it fell. So I opened up the two blinds, window bone dry. You can actually see, this is how good my housekeeping is. You can actually see the dust because the windows are sash windows. So you can actually see the dust on top of the lower window. And so the window was bone dry. Just this valance piece was wet and it was dripping. And fortunately, I had a basin over there because I'm in the middle of reorganizing everything. So I had a basin over there, and it had a couple of water bottles in there. So I got a huge, it's not really a very thick, it's like just a nylon, I don't have anything like it around me, just a nylon sheet that you can put down on the ground to protect you from that, and blah, blah, blah. So I pulled that out of the cupboard, unpacked it, because it comes in a thing about this long and about this round. And it's like a 12-foot square or something like that. It's huge. And so I folded it over a few times and stuck it on the couch. I had to actually, the armrest on the couch, you just lift up and move. And the armrest was wet, so I lifted it up and moved it, put the ground sheet cover thing down, and then put the basin on top of that where it would catch the drips coming down, left the blinds open. So the drips coming straight down now into the basin, and it looks like it got onto the couch a little bit. And I'm like, oh, great. And then I thought, well, hang on. I have been talking about replacing that couch and putting in either a desk there or actually the other day I thought I'll get one of those recliner love seats where each seat has its own foot piece that comes up. And Zeffie's crate would fit in the gap because there would be a gap at one end and her crate would fit there. And that could become like, and then I put a piece of wood over it and it becomes like, I turn her crate into like an end table. And then you have the two leather recliners, and that way Zeffie and I can sit together because she likes hopping up on the seat next to me and trying to get over as far as she can so I can scratch her while I'm sitting in the recliner. But there's still a distance. And so I thought, well, if we had the love seat, she could sit on one, she would go curl up on one part. I could go on the other part. I'm still in a good position to watch the TV. And it would be fine. So now I'm thinking, okay, now I have this couch, which is a little wet on one end. I took the armrest off. That's almost dried out because I've had it sitting over here on the floor. I've got stuff everywhere because it's like I had some stuff there that I was busy sorting. So I got all of that moved. Not much of it was wet, but what was wet I've been able to dry out, or it was stuff that was going to get thrown away, which is fine. So then I noticed that the one that's here, there's another one right here. This one here is soaking wet and is dripping down into the basin. But the one that's on this side is bone dry. So somewhere between that middle point and the outside edge of the slide, that whole window framing piece is getting absolutely soaking wet. And I can't see where the leak is coming from. If I try and take the valance off, that could be dangerous. The cabinet, because there's a cabinet right here, bone dry. And I'm like, thank goodness for that, because there's an electrical outlet right there. Plus, almost there's stuff that I have up in there, bone dry. Not coming in. It's not coming in there. It's just coming in that point somewhere around that valance, and the valance is soaking it up and dripping it onto the inside. So I sent an emergency message out to the Facebook group for the resort saying, does anybody have, anybody know of, if you know of this is the situation. If you know of somebody who is a good RV repair person who could perhaps come out today and deal with this, I would greatly appreciate it. So I got one referral out of that. Left voicemail for my guy who usually does it, but he's out till January 3rd. So I got all of that area taken care of as best I could, because I have no idea where the water's coming in. And when I went outside this evening to look to take Zephyr for a walk, I looked up, and when the slide comes out, there's actually an awning piece that rolls out with it. And it rolls out and sits there tight, so the rain runs off that and off the side of down the side of the windows here, and leaves the top of the slide dry. And I looked up and I thought, well, I can't see any holes coming through. Where's the water? Where was the water coming in? So maybe it was coming in on an angle, like it was hitting the front of going in from the front of the RV, and getting in underneath that awning piece. I haven't checked the level on this, but then my doors aren't swinging. So when I open up my cabinet doors, they're not swinging towards the front of the vehicle, nor are they swinging towards the back of the vehicle. They're staying put. So I'm like, okay, so we're still level. So I'm not sure where this water came from, how it got there, and where it's coming from, and how it's coming in. But we're going to have to get somebody in here in the next week and get that fixed. So then I got my trusty flashlight, and went for a walk. And I'm like shining it up on all of the roof pieces, because all the roof is fabric. And I'm like shining it up on all the roof pieces, walking around, got into the bedroom and went, oh, crap. So in the bedroom, the roof comes along like this. The slide, so the edge of the roof is here. There's your wall piece here for the roof. Then the ceiling comes out this way to go across the room. Then there is a slide piece that comes under it for the bed. So the bed pushes out, and there's about this much of the slide that stays underneath the ceiling inside the RV. So there's this much space. And the outside valance of that was a little wet around the top. And I'm like, oh crap, I got another leak. And up on the ceiling, not on the slide, on the ceiling, there was this little spot about this big that was wet. And I poked it and it felt damp. You could see it and it felt damp. It didn't feel wet like that valance and that other piece did. And so I stood up on the bed and I reach over the top of the slide to see what's on top of the slide. And there's a little bit of water there. So I opened up the cupboard I was in, because that's where I keep my towels, pulled a towel out, put it down in there to soak up that water. And then I could see that there was another water area starting underneath that, where the water was sitting was now starting to come through the valance. And so I put the towel down in there and kind of folded it over so that it's taking up that whole space. It's soaking up whatever little water there was there, and then it's catching any drips. And I went back to check on it about an hour later, and the front of the valance was almost dry. So that first little piece at the bottom, which had that soaked, it would start dripping water on me while I'm in bed. I was not looking forward to that. But that bottom portion of the valance was dry. And so then I checked the top portion and it felt almost dry. So, and I went, and before we went for a walk this evening, I went and I'm checking any more spots, any more wet spots. Checked the ones that were already there. And that's when I found out that the down piece was soaking wet as well. Emptied out the basin. The basin had like a good couple of inches of water in the bottom of it. And it's a deep basin that you can use for soaking your feet. That's what I got it for. Got my bucket of Epsom salts, got my basin. I can sit and soak my feet. And it had about 2 inches of water in the bottom of it. So we turfed that and put it back. Last I checked, it had just a little bit sitting in the corner. And so it'll probably be fine for the night, because we're expecting rain tomorrow, but not as much as we had today. But in the bedroom there, you can still see that it's still a little dot, but the valance pieces are almost dry when I last checked them. And so I was like, oh, thank goodness, thank you. Hopefully we won't get any more rain. And I know I love dancing in the rain. I know I love the rain and everything else, but I want to get dried out first and get repairs made first, because on my list to do in the next few weeks was to get the RV washed and waxed, and then have the roof resealed, and all of the stuff that's on the roof, make sure that that's all resealed as well. So like around that, because I know the shower one leaks, so that one leaked today like normal, so I wasn't too worried about that one. But make sure that that there is actual seal removed from around the shower skylight, and make sure that there's new seal put around that, and then you put a tape over top of that seal, and make sure that that's done on all of the vents and the satellite dishes we have, the AC units, and what else is up on the roof. I think that's it. So that all the pieces that are on the roof are all the old ceilings removed, and the new seal is put down with the new sealing tape on top. And then the whole roof is completely resealed, because you get it resealed and UV protected. And I know I have to get the front of my RV done because it looks like it's peeling. It looks terrible. Like there's this dull gray underneath and there's this shiny gray, and it's peeling at the moment. So it's making sure all that gets done as well. So there's going to be some outside work done on sparkles in the next few weeks. And now we're going to be checking the awnings on top of the slides as well. We're going to be checking the top of the slides to make sure that they are watertight. Because I'm not sure why the window is bone dry and just the valance is wet. That's puzzling to me. So maybe there's like a seal, there's like a joint up there somewhere around that's got to be resealed as well. So we're going to be looking at all of that, and just tidying up the outside of sparkles as that goes. And so we'll be getting that done in the new year. And then after I finish, and of course I'm dealing with all of this while I was working this afternoon, but so I didn't have a lot to really do with that. Was on the help chat till 5 o'clock, and got my time zones mixed up yet again. Because whenever we've talked about hours on the help desk, it's always been in mountain time, and the boss put Pacific time on there this time. And I was sort of like, and I was like, yeah, 4 p.m. mountain time. Yay, I'm off. And she's like, aren't you supposed to work until 5? And I'm like, go look at the email. And went, oh, you put Pacific. And she says, we put Pacific time. I says, we always talk mountain time for hours. So yeah, Helen's brain was a little fried when it comes to time zones. So we got that all sorted out, stayed on for my extra hour, which was fine because I hadn't logged off anything at that point anyway. So it was no bother to stay for an extra hour. Zeffie was curled up in her little nest that she had made herself in the bedroom, and so she was happy to stay in there. And we've had the heater on out. It's not on right now, but we have had the heater on and off throughout the day just to take the chill off the air, because outside it was 63, I think was the high today. And inside we were around 63 to 65. So we had the heater on for, just on a timer thing where it was going, come on, go off, that sort of stuff. And then after Zeffie and I took our walk this evening, which thankfully it wasn't hard raining, it was just a little sprinkling. And Zeffie, as soon as she gets inside, starts rolling around on the carpet trying to dry herself. She still had a harness on, so we got that off her, and then she tried to dry herself again. And then I grabbed the towel and gave her a good rub down, and she was just sort of like, she loves her rub downs with towels. And then after that, I got on the Zoom with my parents back in New Zealand, and my older brother. I'm the oldest, so the older of my two brothers was there with his wife, and so I got to talk to the 4 of them on Christmas Day in New Zealand. And I sat here with my sparkling apple juice while they had whatever they were having, their drinks, waters, and all that. They were having dessert. They're having chocolate eclairs. I'm like, oh no, chocolate eclairs, don't have this. And I sat here eating cranberry, craisins and nuts and cheese, and Zeffie sat right beside me waiting for her little tidbits of cheese. So she actually sat up here with me for quite a while, a lot longer than she normally does. So but yeah, we had a good chat, and then I got off from that, and now here we are. So it's been a nice quiet day with a little bit of tension, but you know what, it's still a super fantastic sparkling day. No matter what happens, it is a super fantastic sparkling day, and I am grateful for the leaks that I have, because now they are going to force me to pull the trigger on the couch situation and getting the couch out of here and getting Zeffie's crate put in a place where it's no longer taking up floor space. Well, it's taking up floor space, but in a different way where it's not going to be in the way of anybody. And then we could get some nice real recliners in here. I have a recliner, and from upright we go to about there. That's it. The only way I can lay flat in my recliner is to turn the recliner so it faces the back of the RV, make sure the little table next to it's away, make sure the passenger seat is completely turned around. Then I can lay completely flat on the recliner, but the TV's over my head, over here. So I'm like, what's the point of having a recliner if you can't recline? Been looking around for different recliners that would fit into that, and I want and I've got a little boxy thing I have to watch out for. So this leak issue is now forcing me to do something about the couch that I've been thinking about and talking about for the last few months. So I'm grateful for the push to start seriously looking at couches and getting rid of that one and getting a new one in. And people keep talking about these electric recliners, and they've got the wall hugger recliners where, and I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of RVers in a Class A replacing their couch that sits in the slide area, and with the foot space of the base of the chairs compared to the walls where they sit, and how because when you have a wall hugger recliner, instead of reclining back like this, and when you push the seat to go down, it actually pushes it out this way. So you sit it like about 4 to 6 inches from the wall, and that's all the space you need. And when it reclines, it will push out into the room, and you get to fully recline. So I'm looking forward to doing that, doing all of the research and everything else. I just have this little boxy thing I've got to work around. Although where it is and the height it should be okay with the recliner, but I want to check. But yeah, so by the end of January, I may have a new recliner in here. But it's probably going to have to come out pretty quick because, the carpet's going to be wet too. Just thought of that one. Because I don't want a moldy couch in here. So that's another job. So I'm grateful to be going through that, because now I'm getting the kick in the butt that I need to get that old couch out of here where it's got springs starting to poke through, and thankfully the poke through is on the ends. But the problem is that if I try to lay the couch down, because it's on the ends, it's scraping the walls on the ends. So anyway, well, that's a whole lot of nothing for you to listen through today. But Zeffie and I would like to wish everybody a super fantastic sparkling. If you're on the other side of the timeline of the time zone things where you're already celebrating Christmas, Zeffie and I would like to wish you a super fantastic sparkling Christmas full of lots of love and laughter. And we hope that you're making some great memories with friends and family, and recalling great memories as well. And please, somebody record the memories so that you can write them down for your story in that. And for everybody else who is still on Christmas Eve, we'd like to wish you a super fantastic sparkling Christmas Eve. And Zeffie's hearing me wind up, so she's coming over looking for her treats now. Hi, sweetie girl. You want to come up? Come on, come. You see how well trained she is. Come. Oh, good girl. Good girl. So from Zeffie and I, have a super fantastic sparkling Christmas if you're already celebrating Christmas, or Christmas Eve if you're on that part as well. And we'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning for Christmas Day and Shake It Up Saturday. Hey, Conera.